Hi, I'm George Pearson, and these are just a few examples from some of the training videos I have here on YouTube. Now, when you're working with the training, following along the training, if you want to get the materials I used in the training, just go to the description down below and click on the link that's at the top of the description, and this will take you to a page where you can download the materials. Please subscribe, click the like button, and of course always share on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the video. In this Photoshop Elements project, we'll be making this picture frame that you can toss any picture inside of. I have it set up here for spring break. And here's a different picture inside the same picture frame. So you can put anything you want inside this frame once you have the frame built. Okay, let's go ahead and see how this is put together. It's pretty straightforward, but a few little tricky things in here. To start off with, though, I have a special font that I'm using right down here. And you'll need to get this font if you want to match this exactly. Of course, you can use any typeface you want on this. Normally for this kind of a project, big, thick, fat letters are better than anything else. They just work out well. So let me show you where I have this one. This is from a website called dafont.com. And they have a whole bunch of fonts. Some are you have to pay for, some are free. This one happens to be free. There are also other ones that are public domain, a wide range of fonts. This one particular font is called laugh-riot.font right there. And of course there is a link for this inside of the description. You go ahead and get that link right from the description to download this font. Now to install the font on your system, just click on download. It comes in a zip file. You'll have to unzip that and then install that. If you're not sure about how to install fonts on your computer, they have a facts section right here, which is this page, and there are instructions in here on how to install fonts for Windows, Mac, Linux, and so forth. So you'll find all you need right there if you don't know how to install fonts. Once the font is installed, it will then be available to you inside of the font menu inside of Elements. Now, right now on this particular video, I'm running this in Windows 8, and when I installed the font, it popped up right away inside my list. I didn't even have to restart Photoshop Elements. But if you don't see it right away, here it is, Laugh Riot NF Regular. If you don't see it right away, then just go ahead and close down and reopen Photoshop Elements, and it will then show up. Okay, so that gives you the font. Once we have that font down, then we're all ready to go. The link for the picture in the background here, you'll find that link on my video support page, and also a link again for the font there as well, so you can download the picture that I'm using. I have a link there for this picture as well if you want to use this just as an example. The palm tree here is from Photoshop Elements. It's one of the graphics inside of Photoshop Elements, so that's already included. Alright, let's go ahead and start this project. We're just going to close this down, save that and get that out of the way, and we'll then start this project from scratch. So let's go up here to File and New, click on Blank File, and we'll have this set at the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6x4 at 300 pixels per inch. Choose OK. And there we go. I'll just dock this like that. Now if you aren't sure about how to undock or dock windows, you can undock by grabbing the title bar and dragging it down. To dock, just pull it up until you see that little kind of blue line there, let go, and it docks again. If that doesn't work for you, go to the Edit menu, come down to Preferences and General, and make sure these two check boxes are checked. Allow floating documents in expert mode, and also enable floating document window docking. When those are checked, you can then dock or undock your windows. Okay, let's go down to the photo bin. I have our other two pictures right down here, and links of course are for these in the description. Just take this one, grab the background layer and drag it onto our new file like that, and then close this. That just puts it in there as a new layer. Here's our other image. Grab the background layer, drag it onto our new file like that, and then close this one down. So there we go, there's our two images. I'll just close down that layer. We'll just kind of hide that right now and work here on this image. Now I want to get this sized properly. You see our control handles out there. I'll pull it down a little bit. We'll just bring it down and then get this as large as I can here. Just like that. There we go. A little bit over the edge is just fine. So there is our background image. Everything is kind of built off of this one. Now it's a photograph, but we'll be turning this into more of a graphic look as we continue. First, let's go ahead and get this thing kind of fixed quality-wise. We'll do some layer adjustments on this. And I'll do these adjustments right on this layer itself. They're not critical. So enhance, adjust lighting and levels, my personal favorite. Grab the middle gray button here. If you go to the left, it will brighten things up. Pull the left side in, and that will add in more dark contrast. Pull the right side in, adds in more light contrast. And just kind of play around to have a good bright image this way. Kind of pulling the two ends in and then bringing the midtone to the left a little bit. Now the one I'm sitting at here, I have 63 on the left side, 1.73 in the middle, and 227 on the right if you want to match this exactly. And choose OK. Just kind of brightened up and increase the contrast on this image. Okay, now I want to put in a window kind of over here, a little to the right, and we'll use our guidelines to do that. Now if you're not seeing your rulers, go up to the View menu and check Rulers right there. Go to the left hand side here and grab the ruler, just kind of drag it over. This gives you a little guideline, and on this one I'll put this right at about 1.25, or about 1¼ inches in from the left hand side. There we go. And then on the right hand side, do the same thing. I'll grab this and drag this over to the right hand side, put it right about at 5.5. You can read it in the window there, but about 5.5. It doesn't have to be perfectly exact on these. Let's grab one from the top, bring it down to about 1/2 inch, and that would be at 0.5, and then one down at 1/2 inch from the bottom, which will be at 3.5, which is right there. So that gives us these guidelines to work with. Let's now go to our Shape tool. There it is. And go up to the View menu again. Come down to Snap to, and make sure that Guides is checked. Okay. Now, go right over this cross, right there, across kind of where those two lines are crossing. Click and drag there and drag down to the bottom right corner of those guidelines. It should snap right onto those positions. And that gives us this rectangle. This is going to be where the window will be inside of our finish. Once you have this in place, we no longer need those guidelines. So we'll go ahead and just clear those guides out. We're done with those. Now I'll use this to create a layer mask for layer 2. Now I don't want to select the inside, I want to select the outside. I'll be using the magic wand. Now to select in here, if I click here, notice that you have to simplify the layer first. So if you see this, just click on OK, or you can do it beforehand, right click on the name and simplify layer. We can now use the magic wand, click out here, and that selects the transparent area of that layer, which is the outside. And that's what I want. Come back to the Move tool, come down to Layer 2, and then hit this. This is the Add Layer Mask. Adds a layer mask on there, and actually hides the middle part of this. And if I hide this layer up here, you can see we now have a big empty hole here. You can see it's a hole if I show this image in behind. There it is, just kind of sitting inside that hole. We're looking at it through the hole made by that black rectangle. Okay, so far so good. Now, I want to do a couple of things to this background. The first thing I want to do is I want to make it look a bit more cartoony. Right now it's just a photograph. I don't want to have a photographic look. I want to have kind of a cartoony look on this layer. So we'll apply a filter onto this. Go up here to the Filter menu, come down to the Filter Gallery. We'll bring this up. Let me see if I can get that. That fits pretty good there. Okay, now if you see this, then you're looking at the wrong side of that layer. Notice the light blue outline right there. Double click on this side, on the image side, so you're seeing this part of the layer. Let's go back to that filter again, Filter Gallery. That looks better. Now it's already at the one that I used, and that is under Artistic at the top here, Cutout, and I have my setting at number of levels 8, Edge Simplicity 4, and Edge Fidelity 2, so 842. And that gives us this kind of a nice graphic cartoony effect up in here. And that's what you want. Choose OK. All right, that gives us that part of this. Now I want to have kind of a nice beveled edge along this thing. And we'll do that beveled edge by using a style. Now on Photoshop Elements 15, which I'm in right now, Styles is down here at the bottom, Effects, Filters, and Styles. If you're on an earlier version of Photoshop Elements, then you'll have the Effects. Let's go over here to anything like that. You'll have the Effects down here, and it will say at the top, it'll say Effects, Filters, and Styles. So click on Styles on that, or in Elements 15, click on Styles down here. Now go to the second one here. It should say Scalloped Edge. Click on that, and that puts that nice scalloped edge on there. Now notice that there's a problem here. It gives me a scalloped edge here, but it also gives me a scalloped edge on the outside. I don't want to have that outside scalloped edge. So let me show you how you can get rid of that outside scalloped edge. I'm first going to undo this style. Let's go back to our layers, and we'll take this layer and duplicate it. There we go, duplicate layers. I have two of those. On the top one, we'll go back and we'll apply that style. There it is. Okay, let's go back to layers again. Now on this top layer, see there's the FX, that's the style. There's the layer mask right there. On this layer, right click and simplify layer. Notice how it collapses all of that stuff down to just the image. If I hide and show that, you'll then see that look properly here. It just updates that thumbnail. So we no longer have the layer mask. We no longer have that FX thing showing. All this has been collapsed down onto just the graphic. It's now just a picture. Now because it's just a picture, I can erase the outside edge of this, and it will show me this layer in behind, which is the nice clean edge. Now if I tried to erase on here and I still had that FX, if I hadn't simplified, wherever I erased, it would then give me a scalloped edge on that erasure. So you have to do the simplified trick first. Okay, let's go to our eraser tool. There we are. Now I have mine set at a hard edge, and it's set at about 65 pixels. It's just a nice size on that. Make sure you're on the top of these layers, and then just erase along that edge. It erases off that edge, and then we're looking at the layer right underneath. Of course, because the underneath layer matches this exactly, it gives us the effect of no longer seeing that bevel. So there we go. So that's how I can get an interior bevel without having an outside bevel. Okay, so far so good. We have the basic frame is now done. You can put our picture in here if you want to. At this point, we can maybe move this around just so it looks nice. I think I'll put it right about like that. A little bit of space on the left-hand side. Maybe a little more sky in here. That's pretty good. Let's clean up our picture a little bit at this point. Let's kind of improve our picture. We'll then get back and finish off our graphics. So we're on layer 1. This is our picture layer. Let's do a couple things to this. First, let's go up to the Enhance menu, come down to Adjust Lighting, and do Shadows and Highlights. I'll leave those at the default settings. It just kind of cleans up the image. You can see there, brightens things up. Looks pretty nice. I'm just doing it real simple on this one. This case, light and shadows 35%, dark and highlights 0, midtone contrast, I'll leave that alone at 0. You want to come in just a little bit and darken your highlights down just a bit. It adds a bit more richness back into the area. So light and shadows 35, dark and highlights 16, looks pretty good. There's the before, there's the after. It's a much nicer picture with just that little bit of work done. Choose OK. That's a real nice tool. That shadow and highlights is real nice for a quick cleanup and fix of most photographs. The next thing I want to do is to fix this white sky in here. So I'll take our magic wand. There it is. Click into the sky area just like that. Now it gives us a lot of selections out here. I don't want any of that stuff. We can clean that out real fast. I'll grab the rectangular tool up here, marquee tool, and make sure that subtract is selected. I have feathering set at 0 right now. And I'll just drag a rectangular marquee down here like that and go to the left hand side of the picture and cut off that part of that selection. Let's go to do the same thing at the top. is drag a rectangular marquee like this, bring it down just onto the edge of that bevel, cuts off that side. Do the same thing for the right side. Just drag that in and go to the edge of the bevel, cleans that off. Let's do the bottom of the picture now. And it's pulling up into the bevel like that. There we go. Now we still have all of this stuff in here that we need to get rid of. We can do a lot of this right up to this point, again by just using a rectangle like this. Just come up just into the trees, just until you get up next to where the sky is on that right hand side. Let go there. That cleans off all of that stuff. Now let's just fix the hair and a little bit right in here. We'll do those coming in a lot tighter on this. And see what we have. Okay, that's tree, that's fine. That's the top of a building. I don't want that. So I'll grab this tool here, the lasso tool. Make sure you're on subtract still. And then just lasso around what you want to get rid of. It just takes that out. Now on the hair, I'm just going to kind of follow it along like this. And then lasso around that. Fixes that area. Let's pull this to the right side a bit. Right across here is okay. I may come in just a little bit like that and try to get anything out of the hair. There we go. And then the girl's hair over here is a little bit right there, a little bit right here, and then we have some right in along here. Just highlights. Okay, that's pretty good. All the rest of this is up inside the trees, so that's all fine. Okay, let's now go to View, Fit on Screen. So we have just this area up here selected. Let's now put a new sky up here. Go up to the Layer menu, come down to New Fill Layer and Gradient. And where it says Use Previous Layer to create Clipping Mask, check that and choose OK. That links the gradient into this one picture. Now it should give you the foreground to background. What it's giving us here is foreground to transparent. Good enough. It's dark to light. I don't want that, so let's reverse that. There we go. So now it does this kind of a thing. That's pretty good. The basic setup is right, but the color is of course wrong. So let's click where it says the gradient, click on that icon, and here's our coloration. Now I'll go over here to this left side, click on that, click where it says color, and we can now choose a new color. So let's come and just find some kind of a nice medium blue in here. So I'm right in the middle of the blue range, and on the top corner up here on any of your positions, your top corner is full saturation, which is left to right, and full brightness top to bottom. So it's full saturation, full brightness right there. Choose OK, nice and bright. Let's choose OK. See how it looks. Okay, it's a bit too much, not enough of the white showing in here. Make a couple adjustments on it. Click on this. Let's change this one from transparent. The top ones up here, these are your transparency or opacity stops. Click on this one on the right hand side. Is opacity 0. Click on that little triangle right there and pull the slider control clear to the right hand side. That'll go solid. Then click on the bottom one, which is your color stop, and that's black. Let's change this to white. Just drag upper left hand corner, choose OK, it changes it to white. Now I want to have the blue kind of stopping over here, not going all the way to this side. So I'll grab this middle little diamond, come right on that. When you see that word pop up, color midpoint, just pull it to the left a ways, maybe about location 25. I'll just type this in, 25. Choose OK. Think of this a little shorter gradient up in there. It'll still be too bright. We can adjust that easily using our opacity setting. I think it's a bit too rough on the little edge right there. I don't like that edge. Let's just clean it up a little bit. Click on either one of your stops, doesn't matter which one. Let me pull that out a bit further. Let's try 40. I don't want to have any lines showing in here. That's why I'm pulling that out further. Choose OK. Okay, that's a softer looking gradient. Looks good. Choose all right. And then on this layer here, this is our sky layer. On the opacity, pull the opacity back, and you can fade in that blue into the white that we had before. Looks like right around 45%. Looks pretty good here for this. And what that does for us, it gives us some coloration up in the sky there, and the sky just looks nicer. So there we go, a couple of quick little fixes on the image, make it for a better image. We can now go back and continue our work on our picture frame. Back to our picture frame layer, here we are. The next thing we need is that big palm tree over here on the left-hand side. Now that's a graphic, and that's on our graphics button, bottom corner, right down there. Bring up our graphics, and we'll set this at graphics. There we go. And I'll just scroll down a little bit here. There's a palm tree in here someplace. We'll see if we can find it. And these come in as little built-in images. Now notice that some of these have a little blue triangle upper right-hand corner. That means that it's still up on the Adobe server. So if the palm tree, which is this one, has that little blue triangle, double-click on that, and it will then download from their server into your system. It's real fast. But you do need to have an active internet connection to do that, so make sure that you're on the internet. Okay, I'll just double-click on that. There's our palm tree right there. Go back to our layers. Comes in as its own layer. Now it's the wrong direction, so let's go up to Image, Rotate, and Flip Layer Horizontal. Just inverts that. There we go. I'll pull it over here, and let's just drag this up like that until we get a good size. Just something about in here somewhere. You know, whatever you happen to like visually is all we need to do. And I'll pull it back just a bit, kind of squeeze that in a little bit there. Now it's kind of rough. Don't worry about that. As soon as you check on that check mark, it comes in at full resolution. And there it goes. There's our left side palm tree. Now I want to put a little drop shadow on this thing. So we're going to be adding a layer effect onto this. Layer style. So layer style. Now before I do this, notice that this is a smart object right there, little icon in the bottom right hand corner. If we go to style settings, let's go to drop shadow, and you see there's the drop shadow showing. There it is. Let's change the lighting angle, move it to the left a bit. On this one I kind of like 138. This kind of upper left hand corner. I changed this just a little bit. I always like it over this direction pretty much for most of my work. But I like it around this one for this particular image. It kind of matches the bevel that we have in there. It looks pretty good. Okay, so there's our lighting angle. Now let's set the size to 0. What this does, the size is how soft the drop shadow is. So 0 is a hard edge shadow. That's what I want. Let's change the distance. The more the distance is, the further out it moves. You can see it right there. Kind of moves out like that. So let's set this at 18, so it's out just a bit, kind of nice hard edge. The hard edge makes it more of a cartoony graphic look to it. And it's too thin, so let's change the opacity to 75% on that. And it's too dark, so I want to change this to a blue. So click on the color over here, and you can actually, if you see the color picker show up, you can come in here, little eyedropper right there, just click up in this blue area. You get kind of a medium tone blue. So you now have a nice blue edge on that. Now if you want to soften that down at all, just bring the size control over a little bit. So there it is at a 13, just a slight softening of that edge. It's still pretty tight, just a slight softening. You can choose how much you want to have on the softening. I think maybe just a little bit of softening looks pretty nice. Maybe 6 or possibly 8 might look pretty good in there. Okay, so there's our nice little palm tree. We have our nice little blue shadow in there. It's not fully opaque. You can see a little bit through it, so it adds a bit of texture detail. Okay, so far so good. All we have left now is to put our fancy type on the bottom right hand corner. So let's go to the type tool. There we go. I'll leave it at black for the moment. And for whatever reason, this particular typeface changes my sizes. I don't really know why, but I'll show you what I set that at and then I'll ignore what happens down here. Now set it center. I'll set my size at 32, and then click in here, any old place, and then we'll type in spring. I'm going to cancel it right now first because I just noticed that my type was showing up down here below everything. I don't want that. So go up to the palm tree layer and let's click again and make sure your type layer is on top. There we go. So you can see this thing. Okay, size 32. Type in spring, hit the enter key, break enter key, and then a 17, and you can see there it is. That's what we're doing, spring break 17. Now spacing is too much, so just triple click 1, 2, 3. That reselects it. Set the leading to 32 again as well, and choose OK. That just brings them in a little bit closer. Now it's too dark. Let's make it a little bit brighter. Give it kind of a nice blue tone in here. So triple click on that, reselects it. Click on color. Here's our color swatches. I'm going to scroll down, and then right there, one called Pastel Cyan. Click on that. That just lightens it up, and then choose checkmark OK. All right, better. It's brighter. Still kind of hard to see, so we're going to add an outline to this thing, and we'll do that using our layer styles. So layer, layer style, style settings. Notice how the lighting angle is still sitting at 138. That's fine. Let's go down here to stroke and make sure it's set at outside. And then we'll bring the size of our stroke up a little bit. Set this at 10. Gives kind of just a nice outline on that at 10. Now I don't want to have black on this thing. I want to have kind of a medium dark blue. So we'll go over here to the color right there. There's my color picker again. Means I can use my eyedropper. Let's click on the spring text itself right there. That gives us the range. And then let's come down and find a darker blue in here. I think I'll pull it up a little ways so it's a stronger blue. Just something in there. So you can see I kind of started with my blue and then moved away from that to give me the blue that I want. So there's kind of just a nice dark. Now clear to the right hand side here, which means that this is full saturation. No saturation, full saturation, light and dark, or full brightness and full darkness. So full saturation and about mid-tone on the brightness on that. So there's the outline. That looks good. I can choose OK here. We also want to have a drop shadow on this thing. Let's go to our drop shadow and let's bring it out so we can see it. Bring our distance out. There's it is. Just a little drop shadow underneath here. You can kind of see that hiding in there. Doesn't need to be out too far, so let's set that to 28. So it kind of has the same feeling as this one does over here. It's actually about twice as far out as this is. Makes this appear to be just a little bit further off the level. And let's bring the opacity all the way up. There we go, just all the way to 100. It's real solid like that. And I have it set at 7 on the side, so there's just a very, very faint soft edge in there. Choose OK. We can go a little bit fancier on the text still. Let's give it a little bit of a warp to this thing. So this time let's triple click on the letters, reselect them, come down here to this little button, the Create Warped Text button. Change this to arc. Does that for you. Leave that horizontal, but change the bend in here. I should go to vertical. There we go. Change the bend right there. So vertical and bend of -14. So it does this kind of a strange thing for us. It just kind of warps that around for us like that. And then just position that where you want it. We have just kind of fun text in there. You might want to use your arrow keys, your cursor keys on your keyboard to get that into just the right position. And if you want to give it any of a spin, just click on one of your corners here and then go outside, and you can then spin this around a little bit. Just a touch, just a little bit more kind of off direction. It's not really perfectly straight or lined up. It just makes it look a little bit more fun. And there we go. So there's our nice picture frame, and with the spring break on this. And the nice thing about this is I can put any picture I want to at this point down here, and it will then sit inside of this spring break frame. Depending upon what's in your picture, you may or may not want to move your palm tree over a little bit. If somebody's face is in here, you want to move your palm tree over a little bit. Or somebody's face is down here, move spring break someplace else. But because it's all separate layers, it's easy to adjust for doing that. But there we go. Real nice kind of fun, clean spring break picture frame. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com. You can share this video with your friends and coworkers. Just click on share and then click on the social media buttons. Feel free to comment on my videos. I try to answer all comments as quickly as I can.